Caves are nature's hidden wonders, but they can quickly turn into deadly traps, a place where one wrong move can mean no way out. Today we explore the chilling true stories of cave explorations gone horribly wrong. Viewer discretion is advised, as this episode contains graphic details of tragedy and loss. It was supposed to be an adventure, just a quick exploration of Hermit Cave near Fort Gibson Lake in Oklahoma's Woodland Park. For Robert, a first-time caver, it was a chance to experience the thrill of descending into the Earth's ancient past. But the allure of mystery and discovery would soon give way to horror, turning a casual outing into an unthinkable tragedy. The Hermit Cave itself is no ordinary formation. Over 200 million years ago, this area was submerged beneath an ancient sea. As the waters receded, they left behind layers of gypsum, a soft material that, over eons, was carved into winding, fragile tunnels by water. The cave's entrance, just a cramped opening, barely 2 feet wide and 3 feet long, gives no hint of the labyrinth below, nor does it warn of the dangers awaiting those unprepared to face its challenges. Robert, joined by his brother and a friend, entered the cave on April 5th, 1999. It was an impulsive decision. No helmets, no proper gear, just jeans, a t-shirt, and a single flashlight. His companions were similarly under-equipped, their preparation as thin as the air within the poorly ventilated cave. It wasn't long before the friend decided to leave, uneasy about venturing further. But Robert and his brother pressed on, squeezing through the gypsum passages with little thought of the risks. About 150 feet into the cave, disaster struck. The narrow, muddy passage grew tighter, forcing Robert to inch forward on his stomach. In the blink of an eye, he became stuck. His body was wedged face down in the slick mud, arms pinned tightly to his sides. Panic set in as he realized he couldn't move. He couldn't free himself. His brother, frantic, tried everything to pull him loose, but the unforgiving mud held Robert fast, as if the cave itself had decided to claim him. With no other option, Robert's brother scrambled out of the cave to get help. Every moment must have felt like an eternity as he raced to find rescuers. Soon, a team of experts arrived, determined to save the young man trapped in the Earth's embrace. The rescue effort was grueling and desperate. The team worked tirelessly for 5 hours, fighting against the clock and the cave's natural hostility. Air had to be pumped into the narrow tunnel to counteract the stagnant, suffocating atmosphere. But Hermit Cave was unrelenting. By the time rescuers reached Robert at 3 p.m., it was too late. The young adventurer had succumbed to the very environment he had sought to explore. Whether he suffocated from the lack of breathable air or the mud pressing against his face, the result was the same. The ancient cave, carved by time and water, had taken him. For those who knew him, Robert's death was a gut-wrenching loss. For the rescue team, it was a stark reminder of the dangers of caving, especially for the unprepared. As for the rest of us, it stands as a haunting tale of how nature, even in its quietest and most unassuming forms, can be deadly. In the rugged wilderness of the Canadian Rockies, located near Trio Mountain and the towering Mount Robson, lies Arctomys Cave. Known as Canada's second deepest cave, it plunges a staggering 1,760 feet beneath the surface, a labyrinth of narrow passages, vertical shafts, and the unforgiving chill of underground isolation. For seasoned cavers, it's a formidable challenge. For the unprepared, it's a death trap. On October 17, 1991, a group of 4 experienced cavers, Rick Black, Chris Zimmerman, Hugo Mullick, and Ron Lassell, set out to conquer Arctomys Cave. Getting to the cave itself was no small feat. It required a grueling 20-kilometer hike through the unforgiving terrain of the Rockies, a trek that often took days to complete. As the team descended into the cave, they made steady progress, splitting into 2 groups to cover more ground. At 1,300 feet below the surface, they arrived at a notorious obstacle known as the Refresher, a 29-foot vertical shaft made treacherous by a constant waterfall cascading through its center. For seasoned cavers, this kind of feature is both a challenge and a thrill, but it demands absolute precision and respect for the environment. Rick Black was the first to descend. His rope was attached to what seemed like a solid choice, an enormous 400-kilogram boulder. But in the depths of Arctomys Cave, appearances can be deceptive. The boulder was unstable, and as Rick began his descent, the unthinkable happened. The massive rock shifted under the strain, plummeting into the shaft and crushing Rick beneath its immense weight. His pelvis was shattered, and he was left pinned and immobile, water from the shaft pouring over him. Chris Zimmerman stayed by Rick's side, comforting him and trying to keep him as stable as Hugo Mullick and Ron Lascelles began the arduous journey back to the surface to summon help. Hiking out of the cave and through the mountain's harsh landscape took 14 grueling hours. By the time they reached assistance, precious time had already slipped away. What followed was the largest cave rescue operation in Canadian history. Multiple agencies were called in, including expert rescue teams, but the logistics were nightmarish. It took 36 hours for rescuers to reach Rick, battling narrow passages, the relentless waterfall, and the physical toll of the deep cave environment. Despite their Herculean efforts, Rick succumbed to his injuries before they could get to him. The boulder's crushing weight had caused catastrophic internal damage, leaving no chance for survival. It took another 2 days to recover Rick's body, a somber and heart-wrenching task that showed the brutal risks of cave exploration. His death was a devastating loss for the caving community, a stark reminder that even the most experienced adventurers can fall victim to nature's unpredictability. The tragedy of Arctomys Cave still echoes as a cautionary tale for explorers who dare to challenge the depths. In these unforgiving spaces, where one wrong decision or unstable anchor can mean the difference between life and death, preparation, respect, and humility are not just virtues, they are survival tools. In the heart of the Mojave Desert, straddling the California-Nevada border, lies Devil's Hole, a hauntingly beautiful limestone cavern filled with water so ancient and pristine it takes 15,000 years to reach its depths. This geological marvel is more than just a cave. It is a sacred site to the Timbisha Shoshone tribe, steeped in legends of water babies and a significant enigma due to its connection to distant seismic events and the unique Devil's Hole pupfish that call it home. But on June 20th, 1965, this quiet pool of water became the site of one of the most chilling unsolved tragedies in cave diving history. That night, 4 young men, Paul Giancinetri, David Rose, and brothers Bill and Jack Alter, decided to defy the law and dive into Devil's Hole under the cover of darkness. The site was, and still is, heavily protected, having been declared a national monument by President Truman in 1954. But for these thrill-seekers, the temptation of exploring one of the world's most mysterious caves proved irresistible. Armed with only basic diving gear and minimal experience, they ventured into the unknown. 3 of them, Paul, David, and Bill, entered the water, while Jack stayed above as a lookout. The descent was slow, the water dark and foreboding, with no clear bottom in sight. Before long, Bill surfaced, his air supply running low, but Paul and David didn't follow. Minutes turned into hours, and the panic set in. Jack and Bill realized something had gone horribly wrong. The search that followed was one of the most extensive and perilous in the history of cave diving. Over 36 hours, 44 expert rescue divers scoured the water, pushing their equipment and endurance to the limit. The cave seemed endless. A dive line extended to 932 feet without reaching the bottom, an unsettling testament to the abyss's vastness. Despite their best efforts, all they found was a mask, a snorkel, and a flashlight. Paul and David had vanished, swallowed by the inky depths of Devil's Hole. The tragedy left more questions than answers. Did they become disoriented in the labyrinthian underwater passages? Was there a sudden drop-off, or did a freak accident claim their lives? The cave's secrets remain as impenetrable as its depths, but the bodies never recovered. For decades, the incident has fueled speculation, sorrow, and even supernatural theories tied to the site's legendary status. Devil's Hole stands as both a natural wonder and a grim reminder of the dangers of underestimating its mysterious waters. It demands reverence from those who approach it, an eternal sentinel guarding the depths where time, life, and loss intertwine. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this.